Hey everybody, you're watching A Physio Named Jonah. That is this guy, who is a broken version of this guy actually, because of the Cowboys Week 1 Sunday Night Football absolute meltdown that I experienced a couple days ago. Now, besides being one of the ugliest offensive performances that I've ever seen, it also got better when late in the game, Dak Prescott hit his thumb on a helmet from the other team and he broke it. I mean, I think it's about as bad of a week 1 as you could possibly draw up for a team. I mean, no, you could probably make a worse one, but it was bad. It was really bad. In today's video, I'm going to be highlighting what the injury was to Prescott's thumb, what the surgery is like, and the recovery afterwards, so we can chat about what to expect moving forward from my favorite team's starting quarterback. As you can tell from the jersey though, Romo guy. Now, the injury that actually happened was Prescott fractured his thumb. This happened when he bumped his hand off the helmet of Shaq Barrett. Thumbs and helmets don't exactly go together. Based off of the injury region as well as type, it's most likely that Prescott fractured his first metacarpal, possibly including the trapezium, which is the carpal bone that connects onto the metacarpal at the joint at the base of the thumb. Now, metacarpals are the long bones in the hand that run from the little tiny carpal bones down in the wrist up to the base of the actual fingers themselves. What the first metacarpal means is that it is the metacarpal for the first joint, or the thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Following the fracture, Dak had to undergo surgery to stabilize the joint and fracture, which involved placing pins and screws into the bone around the fracture. It's important to note that not all fractures require pins and screws as well as stabilizations. They only do that in instances where it seems more likely there will be a displacement or it's more at risk of having movement with the fracture. I mean, think about it. Not everyone that breaks their leg has to go under the knife. They may just be put in a cast and let heal for a while. So that's the injury in a nutshell without getting too much into the nitty-gritty of it. It was a fracture that required a surgery in order to stabilize, and the surgery involved a metal plate as well as pins. The question on everyone's mind is now what? Right after the injury happened, the first timeline that was brought up for recovery was 6 to 8 weeks. If you followed the NFL last year, this was the same timeline that was put forward for after Russell Wilson injured his hand halfway through the season. Then, Jerry Jones was interviewed earlier this week, and he was saying that they don't even want to put Dak on the injured reserve because he may come back inside of the 4 weeks that's required minimum once you place a player on the injured reserve. This suggesting that Prescott would be back and practicing within 4 weeks from now. Okay, now I'm no surgical expert. I'm a physiotherapist. I don't perform surgeries, I deal with what comes afterwards. So this is my area of expertise. 4 weeks or less to have Dak Prescott back out on the field, not just throwing a football, but practicing, playing, exposing himself to potential contact? Nope, that's not a good idea in my opinion. And here's why I don't think it's a good idea. We don't expect bones to be healed until the 4 to 6 week timeline. Often in practice with players who are not professional athletes, this may be pushed into the 6 week plus category. This does not even take into account that just because a fracture is technically healed and the bone is no longer broken, does not mean that you are ready to play NFL football. Let's go back to Russell Wilson last year. Similar hand injury with a timeline of 6 to 8 weeks brought up. Russ said that he was going to beat that timeline, and he did, and everyone was excited, and then he couldn't throw the ball. If you watched most of the games when Russell was back after last year, it was clear that something was wrong with his throwing mechanics. Probably the fact that he had just had surgery on his hand a few weeks earlier, and this was impacting his ability to grip a football. Yes, being able to grip a football well is incredibly important at the NFL quarterback position. They actually have to do a lot of things while holding the football that go beyond just gripping it. Granted, Wilson's injury was a tendon rupture, and Dak's is a fracture. Wilson's was, I believe, to the middle finger, whereas Dak's injury is to his thumb, which in my opinion makes this more difficult to recover from. The portion of grip strength and control that comes from the thumb when gripping and throwing a football is substantial, to say the least. 4 to 6 weeks may be enough to allow the bones in the area to heal, but that does not mean that the strength, grip, coordination is going to be back to where it was before the fracture. Restoring strength, range of motion, reducing swelling, all of these things take time after a fracture, and those are just the baseline before you get back to very sport-specific movements like throwing a football. What I'm trying to highlight here and really get at is that I don't think that they should push Dak out there too quickly. I know he's the franchise quarterback, and of course you want to try and save the season, but he's the franchise quarterback, and re-injury risk to an area like that just isn't worth it to me. Add on top of that, that even if he is technically back out there and technically healed, he likely will not be back to performing in the way that he's capable of. Anyway, enough of my Cowboys despair ranting for the day. What an awful way to start the season, but I hope you enjoyed today's video and it helped put Prescott's injury in context and give you a bit of an idea of what to expect moving forwards. If you have any further questions about this injury or another one, feel free to drop them down in the comments section below for me. I'll get back to you generally within a day or two, and I look forward to chatting with you there. If you enjoyed the video and want to help support the channel, consider hitting the thumbs up button down below or subscribing to the channel to receive notifications when I release new videos. Doing these things helps my videos reach more interested viewers like yourself, and I really do appreciate the support. But most importantly though, guys, as always, move your body, have a laugh today, and I will see you at the next video. Please let week 2 be better than week 1. Bye guys.